All right, everyone, we are rolling. Welcome back to the Paris Pod, the final Paris Pod. What started as the Road to Paris became, as Brian Cook dubbed it, the Road is Here, which then became the Paris Pod once we were actually in Paris. And this is it. We started this show before Austin was born.
Yeah.
And now we are, isn't that crazy? 18 months later, we have reached the end of the Olympic Games. So we got full staff in here.
Yeah.
We got Tri Bourne making his first appearance on the Paris Pod.
Just in time, baby.
Just in time. Brought in our ringer, and we brought in our regular star, Kyle Friend.
Yes, sir.
Glad to have you back.
Glad to be back.
So this is what just happened. Most of you guys watching already know. So the women's side, Patricia and Duda won the first Brazilian women's gold medal since 1996.
Big deal.
Since Sandra Piles and Jackie Silva won. Crazy that that's the first gold medal in Duda's lifetime. I think it's very fitting that it was won by Duda herself, considered the best player in the world really since she was 18.
Whoa, that's weird.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we got Melissa Humana-Paredes and Brandie Wilkerson winning the first women's beach volleyball medal for Canada in history, and the first overall since 1996 when Mel's dad was coaching John Child and Marquise.
It's really cool.
So
Full circle.
Both Canadian medals. Kudos Papa Humana.
The GOATs now.
Yeah.
Of Canada,
Brandie and Mel.
Canada volleyball.
Brandie Mel.
Maybe Mel. She has a world championship.
I think
We can get into that, but you know, Mel. Mel might be.
Yeah, so we were talking about our big storylines coming into it. You've got your major women's storyline.
Right
there.
There it is.
Mel, probably the GOAT of Canadian beach volleyball history. We'll get to that.
Sorry, jumping the gun.
Patience.
Patience. And then a huge congratulations to Switzerland's Nina Brunner and Tanja Huberli, the second straight Olympic bronze medal for Switzerland's women, following the footsteps of Anouk Verger-Dupré and Joanna Mader. And I will always remember when Anouk was interviewed after winning bronze, and the interview asked her, is Switzerland a beach volleyball country now? And she said, yes, it's a beach volleyball country. And it's hard to argue. They were the only federation with multiple teams in the quarterfinals, with Zoe and Esme taking a fifth. So huge congratulations to them. So we'll just start there with the women. Actually, we'll start with you since we already kind of dangled the carrot of what our major storyline is. What's the biggest storyline for you on the women's side?
I think Canada making that push. Obviously started off a little bit shaky with pool play, and a lot of times that gives you that confidence and like nothing to lose mentality. We knew they had our guy Michael Gervais over there, which they covered on TV plenty of times.
It's really cool.
But we knew he was up there in their heads the whole time. They had that kind of underdog mentality going through the single limb rounds, and I thought they were going to go all the way, to be honest, especially the way that the gold medal match started.
8-2.
You're up 8-2 in the first, and then you won the second 21-13? 12. Like, opportunity.
Yeah.
But easier said than done to close that out. The team they played amazing.
Duda went Duda.
Duda went Duda. She was clean, calm, cool, collected. AP, Patricia, found that fire, which like she's got that Brazilian swag for sure.
When AP gets those crazy eyes,
Those big crazy eyes.
Yeah, no,
Watch out.
When she starts I'll just use my head in the gold medal match. Biggest stage ever, most important match of my life. I'm not scared. Boom, head, chest, what?
Yeah.
Matumbo finger wags. Which I actually love that Brandie was making some noise towards the end there and just trying to change that energy and shift it back to their side. And you know, it's good to see. I thought it was great to see them kind of go at it a little bit. I'm sure it was very respectful, the dialogue that we didn't hear. And
it was compelling theater. And I saw some spectacularly bad takes on the internet after. So after Brazil wins, they have a shot of Brazil celebrating, and Mel and Brandie were waiting at the net for a minute, and then they wanted to let Brazil celebrate, so they go shake hands with the refs. And so many people were calling Canada bad sports for walking in.
Gosh.
That's you could
the Canadians.
You could do the either way. Like, oh no, Brazil is not shaking their hands.
Right.
Like,
Correct.
You're just making things up.
Yeah.
This
So
is
Brandie and Mel, They shake hands with the refs, wait for Brazil to get their celebration, which I think as they should.
Great.
And then they shake hands afterwards, and there's pictures of Anna, Patricia, and Brandie hugging it out, which I think is awesome. You talk trash, you get into it at the net, a little scrappy at the net, a little feisty, a little spicy.
Expect nothing less from those two teams, right? You expect them to hug it out after. And you got to have a little bit of energy and fire to play those guys because if you don't, you're gonna lose.
You have to match it.
You got to match it.
Yeah,
you got to
exactly.
do something. And when they were up 8-2, I was like, oh my gosh, hold on, because everybody knows.
Yeah.
Due to an AP, you can't count them out at any point because they can be playing at 60%, or they can play 100%, and you might still lose. It's just crazy.
And they became the first 1 seed to win an Olympic gold medal since Carrie and Misty in 2004.
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
How about that?
Carrie and Misty weren't the 1 seeds?
A lot of times,
London
if the host team is...
Oh, gotcha, okay.
So I think China was technically the one in Beijing.
Well, that's kind of skewed.
A little bit of a technicality.
Yeah,
but on paper, just an interesting little factoid.
But back to my storyline. Canada making it to that match. In my mind, Mel's already got a world championship. Canada beach volleyball for the women's side doesn't have a really long, decorated history.
Sure.
This girl's got a silver medal and a world championship. Mel, I think you're the GOAT.
Is Mel the Canadian
Brandie's the GOAT blocker, 100%.
Yep.
In terms of what she's just done purely blocking wise.
Yep.
And then, obviously, just getting a silver medal, period. But that team's the GOAT team. I don't know.
Two different partners with Mel too. It's not like you have to adjust.
Ridiculous.
You have to adapt. You got to find a way to win with that partner. A team dynamic is different, and over the longevity for Mel, credit to her because I feel like when she does touch the ball and when she is digging and siding out, I'm confident that she can make the right shot. That's how I feel when she's playing.
Yeah.
With Mel, too, I think she knows her role so well, where she reminds me a lot of Sorum, actually, where Christian Sorum is not going to give points away. If it's a somewhat risky shot, he's like, I'm just going to make it difficult for you to side out coming back because I know I got Brandie at the net. And so Mel isn't going to try to go for these crazy kill shots. He's like, you know what? I'm going to make
Trust
you uncomfortable.
your defense.
Good luck siding out and transition out of system against Brandie.
Yeah, good luck diving for this, getting it up, and then putting it down on us.
Yep.
Yeah. That's something we're trying to work on with our team right now, too.
Right. It's like maintaining the advantage.
They're the best.
Right. Like, okay, it's not perfect opportunity here, but can I keep them on their toes? Can I hold this percentage? Can I keep the percentages in our favor for this rally?
Yes.
And then maybe end up getting the point.
Yep. So there's storyline number 1 from Tri Bourne, Melissa Humana-Paredes. Congratulations. When you retire, you go to the goat pasture in Canada. Number 1 Canadian beach player of all time. Brandie making a case as the best blocker. I think that's an interesting debate to have with her and Pavin.
Well, but her purely blocking, you can't argue because she's got best blocker in the world award multiple times, plus AVP,
and we'll get it again, I think, this year.
Right, exactly.
It's so fun to watch her.
So,
we don't got to get too deep into the weeds on that one.
Yeah. So good pick by you.
Thank you,
Kyle Friend. Number 1 storyline for the women. If you had something to add, please add it.
Yeah. I would just say Switzerland continue to put themselves on the map. Nina Brunner establishing herself as one of the best players in the world. I had an absolute joy watching her play this tournament. Just the creativeness, her defensive patience, her ability to hand dig balls at moments, step up into the court a little bit more than I see a lot of athletes on the women's side, step up and use the hands a little bit more, and then just come in and bang when she needs to, and then be creative, little sharp pokes here. I just loved her game this tournament, and we'll talk about maybe later the MVPs of this tournament, and it's hard to not consider her, even though they did not take it into the gold medal match. But I mean, they played amazing volleyball and held on to that bronze medal. So it was a phenomenal tournament.
Yeah,
for them.
she was smooth. She was real.
She was so good.
Yeah,
she was
so
so good.
Nina finished number 2 in the tournament in digs. Mel number 1, Duda number 3.
Yeah.
Everyone has heard me talk about on the show. Defense travels.
Defense travels.
You got 1, 2, 3, all on the podium.
Defense travels.
And also congratulations to Australis, Maria Fay-Artacho, Taliko Clancy, second straight Olympic semifinal.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's hard to do.
Badass.
Especially because they've been kind of battling through injuries, haven't played a lot this year.
Yeah.
And then they just come out,
They put it together.
played a phenomenal tournament. They were the first team to give Anna, Patricia, and Duda even a sweat.
Yep.
AP and Duda were smoking teams, which I don't think anybody would have picked that Patricia and Duda's toughest match going into the semifinals was Egypt.
Right? They get 18, 19 on them?
Egypt was the only one who scored 19.
That's wild. And it just shows you at times Brazil isn't switched on.
Yep.
Right? And you can catch them sleeping a little bit, but at any point, they will come back and beat you.
It seems like their best, what we saw is that their best is the best.
Sure.
Not that they're there all the time, but if they bring their best, everyone in the world brings their best, Brazil's probably going to come out on top.
Yeah.
That's what when me and Brian Cook did the preview, I said when AP and Duda are playing at their best, no one in the world can beat them. The question is,
how often
do they throw in the 60%er? And when they went down 8-2 in the first set of the finals, it's like, now's not the time to check out. And then I don't know. I never know what happens when they just sort of flip the switch.
Right.
When Patricia gets those crazy eyes and Duda goes full Duda, but I'm like, when that happens, good luck.
Good luck. Brazilians need a little chip on their shoulder. And they're like, you're going to make us go down 8-2 in a gold medal match? Disrespect. I'm going crazy eyes. I'm going to dig balls with my head.
Disrespect.
I mean, dude, swag.
Yeah.
Just straight swag
And I
from
think
Brazil.
I think it's a very fitting medal. So Duda and Patricia played with different partners in the Tokyo quad. Duda's with Agatha, one of the best of all time. Patricia was with Rebecca. They combined for 25 medals in that quad and took a 5th and a 9th in Tokyo. I think that they were long overdue for a medal, and Brazil was long overdue for gold.
Yeah, it's insane.
So good for them. Congratulations to them. Kyle, you alluded to it. MVP of the women's Olympic Games.
Yeah, MVP for me, like I said, I mentioned Nina Brunner, and I have her second on my list, but number one's going to go to Duda. I just think too good, too pure. It just seems that whenever Brazil needed a big dig, late, Mel was just kind of banging balls, and Duda's just there, sitting on it. Just slip, thank you. And then her hand ball all the time is fast. It's pure.
Yeah.
It's never a miss hit. It's
Same
purposeful.
as our off speed, right?
It's wild. It's wild. And it seems like she gets her feet to every ball, but even if she doesn't, she finds a way to drive the ball. She stays tall. I mean, it's a nightmare to play against them because you try to keep the ball away from her, but you can't.
Right.
Because she's there. She's everywhere, and she's touching everything. So, again, MVP of this tournament is Duda.
MVP goes to Duda for Kyle. And we did put up a poll on the SANDCAST YouTube page, and Duda was the runaway winner of that.
Yeah.
Who's your vote?
I think someone I want to consider for it is Brandie, the way that she dominated.
Yep.
She was an absolute game changer. I'm going to give it to Duda because she won the gold. She finished the job, but I'll give a runner up to Brandie.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear that there were 3 players who played at their absolute best. I think you had Duda, who's my pick, Brandie, who was the number 2 both in the poll and in my vote, and then, as you mentioned, Nina Brunner. I think all 3 of them pretty much careered. Brandie, I believe, led the tournament in blocks, and if it wasn't in just sheer total, the amount of shots that she changed.
She's optioning balls, everything.
Just balled out.
Consistent option, actually, which I think was a step up or just slightly elevated from what we've seen this year from the option from her. I mean, she's been optioning, Mel's been, they've been optioning.
Yeah.
Just seemed like crisper, more pure, finding the sideline, and just with control. Not a lot of errors, I think, on her option, which was nice to see.
Yep.
It almost seemed like harder for Mel to find a rhythm because she was so successful with that option. When she did get the set, it didn't seem like Mel had all of her options that she normally does in that gold medal match. But we can go deeper into that later. We don't need to get too deep into the weeds.
Yeah, so huge congrats to all the women. And you guys can weigh in on this as well. I don't think it's an indictment of the American women that we didn't medal in a single elimination tournament at the end. I think that Kelly and Sarah, I don't think reached their peak highest gear and lost to a Swiss team who played all world.
Definitely.
Kristen and Taryn played the same, kind of that B+, didn't reach their highest gear against Mel and Brandie, when Brandie especially was playing at her absolute best. But I think when you look at the quad as a whole, you got world champions, world champions bronze medalists. The last 2 World Tour Finals winners are both U.S. women. I don't have the exact count, but I would have to think that these are probably the most highest volume of medals
Yep.
that the U.S. Federation has won in a quad on the women's side.
And as a country, would you say that the U.S. was the best over that quad?
I don't even know if it's close.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll
then
take
you sprinkle in a little Betsy and Julia being top 10
Right.
in the world as well.
Right.
Yeah. Everyone forgets about that.
For most of that period. But yeah, like you said, this last event is not a true depiction of the success of USA Volleyball over the whole, right?
Yeah.
And it's really great to see. And credit to TKN and Sarah and Kelly for an amazing quad and grinding it and doing it. And then again, just running into some behemoths, at the end of this tournament, and it's a grind, and it's not only a physical toll in the deep sand over this time, but it's the mental toll of being on. Like I said, you were there, being on mentally for that whole time that you're in the Olympic Village. Yes, you're resting, but your brain is still firing. Your nerves are still working. It's
And you can speak to that.
Well, the Americans, I think, were 2 of 3 teams going into that event that were thinking gold or bust.
Sure.
And that's a different pressure that you're carrying.
Yeah. Right.
Brazil carried it the whole time and finished the job, which almost had a little underdog to it because they didn't get that world championship they were expected to get. Whereas I think Sarah and Kelly, at least in their minds, and I don't know any of the psychology behind what their approach was, but it just seemed like they were just all in. Like, this is our medal. We're going to go get it. We're going all in, which I totally respect. But the harder it makes it harder to pull it off.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. And just while we're on the topic of women winning medals, we don't know what medal our indoor women are coming home with, but they're coming home with something.
Let's go.
Shout out
Let's
to
go.
them for making the
Yes.
finals.
We got
Great
them.
job.
We got a few of them on the pod right before. I feel like we sent them off with good energy.
Yeah.
The GLP.
Dana Rettke, Kelsey Robinson Cook, go get some. And
Brian Cook, he was
And
here
Brian
a
Cook,
lot,
he was
and he
in
was in
here.
the stands.
Yep.
A lot of
Just
that
that
SANDCAST
matters.
energy.
I'm just
Sent
saying.
him with that SANDCAST good
I'm
vibes.
just saying.
Yeah, let's go get that goal.
is what it
I'm
is.
excited for that.
And the men. While we transition
Yeah,
to the men's
yeah.
side of this podcast,
got you. Come
huge
on.
shout out to the men. Oldest team in history, our U.S. men, winning the bronze medal.
It's really cool.
And Tri, why are you putting on a Vikings helmet?
Scandinavia, domination. Not the beach volley Vikings taking the goal, but Vikings are from all over there. They can't fully have it. Just gotta give a little shout out to the Scandinavian Vikings. Small kind domination.
2 medals for Scandinavia. So the men's gold medal match, I expected Sweden to win. I did not expect 21-10, 21-12.
No.
I believe it was 12 or 13.
13.
13.
Yeah.
Didn't expect that. They beat Nils Ehlers and Clemens Wickler. Massive congratulations to them. Got over their semifinal bugaboo. Got over their Norway Demons. Were 0 for 6 against Anders and Christian. Beat them in the semifinals for the first time. Getting to the gold medal match. Big silver medal. First German men's medal since Jonas Reckerman and Julius Brink, 2012. And then the bronze medal was won by Anders and Christian. Still 0 repeat winners for gold on the men's side. Anders and Christian, I think, were the most likely candidates to do so. Now Sweden is going to be a very likely candidate to do so in LA.
They're still 22.
Still 22.
Lots
You gotta
of
be
time
kidding
left.
me.
Yeah, and a big congrats to Sharif and Ahmed of Qatar. Back-to-back Olympic semifinals for them. Went bronze and then 4th. So very good tournament for them. Kyle, biggest storyline for the men.
Yeah, for me, biggest storyline is Sweden and the turnaround from losing a game here in the beginning of pool and then coming back, and then Jonatan Hellvig blocking. Usually when we talk about Sweden, it's the jump setting, it's the defense of Ahman and the side out of Ahman. In this tournament, it just seemed like Hellvig was dialed in. He looked springy, he looked bouncy, he was making massive moves. 4 blocks in the gold medal match. I had it down as 5. The statistics said 4. Huge amount of blocks in the Qatar game, in the semifinals game as well. And he, like I said, 22 years old, looked like he had been there before, and just really, really consistent with his hands. And we talked about when we were watching the game. Usually it's like, Ahman with another amazing dig and doing this. And he did a few things. He had some big high swings. And no discredit to Ahman. Obviously, he's over Ehlers a bunch of the balls. But Hellvig, I think, was the most impactful player for Sweden. So that is my storyline. Again, credit to them. Freaking gold medal. I mean, just wiping Germany.
And as I was telling you guys, I've never seen Sweden win by such a lopsided manner in which David Ahman seemed like a spectator to the show.
Yeah. So a little quiet.
I mean, that had to have been the most comfortable match any gold medal teams ever won.
It's the most lopsided Olympic gold medal match in history. So by history, I removed 96 and 2000 because that was old school scoring.
Yeah.
And the previous was 2004. Emmanuel and Ricardo beat Pablo Herrera, who took a fifth 20 years later.
Herrera still playing in this event, 6th Olympics.
So they beat.
Shout out to him.
Shout out to Spain for the longevity.
Shout out to Herrera. And Spain is hilarious. So you got Pablo Herrera and Adrian Rivera, 10 Olympics between him. And then you get the flip side with the women, 2 22-year-olds, and Daniela Alvarez and Tania Moreno. You know,
they were being born when he played in the first Olympics.
Yeah, isn't that nuts?
Whoa.
Yeah. Like I said, and those girls going back to college, which you will have to get to coach against them.
Great.
Good luck for NCAA players.
Good luck with that,
play
coach.
these Olympians. Like, jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Impressive.
so that was the most lopsided gold medal match in history. Ricardo and Manuel beat Herrera and Javier Bosma 21-15, 21-16. So it wasn't even close to being the most lopsided. That was
Dude, to be in like that one point where you're getting served or you're serving to win a gold medal is the most heart-wrenching time ever, potentially. And they had like a cushion of 8 points. they in that moment, they're like, is this for real? Like, this is how easy it's going to be?
The lightest they've been in an event final this whole year, probably. You know?
Well, when you won your second Manhattan with Trev,
yes,
that final was a blowout, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was comparing it to, where I was like, you know me, I'm pretty damn good at blocking out the score.
Forgetting the score, blocking out the score.
We're up by like 4 or 5, 6 maybe.
Right.
But in my mind, I'm blocking it out because I'm like, it's 2. Like, you're wrong. You know,
right.
I think I did know the score, whatever. Yeah. But it was the same thing where I was almost in denial. I was like, am I going to win?
Are we doing this?
Pier? Get on the pier like this easily? What? Are you kidding me? It's weird, and it kind of takes away from your celebration a little, which I don't like as a fan.
It's funny because going into the match, you're like, I would love a 21-10, 21-13 blowout. But then after the match, you're like,
I'm not complaining about it at all.
But the 22-20 win block, like Roof and Casey in the seam, like when it's real tense, like that release is so different.
Oh, 100%. Well, even like Anna Patricia's celebration was, terrible is the wrong word. It's not what I wanted, you know,
right.
In that moment. She's just like, yep.
We knew it was coming.
Duh. Yeah. Of course I won.
Duda was trying to like shake her to be like, hey, we won.
It's over.
Did it. Yeah, it's over. We did it. You know, and Patricia kind of looked like she was in shock, you know, a little bit that it was ended.
And sorry to revisit the women's side for a second. I was thinking about, where does this put Duda on the all-time great list? Because the only thing missing from her resume was an Olympic gold. 3 times she's been named the best player in the world. Mm-hmm. Was named best player when she was 18, 19, and then last year. Has won a world championship. Has won more gold medals than I care to count. Has now won Olympic gold.
What about Larissa?
Larissa
how does that
never
compare?
No Olympic medals for Larissa.
Ooh. But winningest women's all time, Larissa?
Well, Misty and Carrie's number 1.
Okay,
right.
Winningest
in Brazil. Larissa
winning is Brazil, but Duda,
it's tricky to compare generations because they
right.
play so many less tournaments nowadays, right?
Yep.
It's true.
But she's right there.
Duda,
1, 2, maybe 1, right?
Yeah.
We just got to look a little deeper in the stats.
Did you hear that? I think I heard that.
That's the deal. There's been a lot of goats
running around. Did you guys get some new animals back here?
Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Over at Burt's, there's all these homeless. Over by my house, there's a bunch of goats walking around.
Duda's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah,
she's
just turned 26.
What's the
She's just
combined age
getting better.
of the gold medalists on the women's and men's side? This is making me feel really bad.
44 years old for the men, 52 years old for the women.
I love how you added that.
Quick math.
Had you added that before, or you
It
just
made
did that
it easy that it was 22 and 22 and 26, 26.
Okay, that's easier.
If it were like a 29, 25, you'd be like, calculator.
That's crazy, though.
Yeah, I think that's wild. And I would think that Ahman and Hellvig are the youngest gold medalists ever.
Yeah.
I didn't
Definitely.
do the math,
for
but
sure.
22 and 22
they are probably the young.
For sure.
Are they not the youngest combined age of team in the men's Olympics ever?
Cuba's younger.
Got it. That's right.
Yeah, because I think.
Oh, really?
I think
He's 21.
I think
Noslin's-
Noslin's 20 or 21,
Yeah.
and Elio is 21 or 22.
Yeah, they ain't going anywhere either. They ain't going anywhere either. So volleyball world, you got your hands full with these young athletes.
Yeah, got our hands full. So Sweden, after winning the first Swedish World Championship medal ever, won a silver. Then they win Sweden's first Olympic medal ever, make it gold. Interesting storyline. Both World Championship silver medalists are now the Olympic gold medalists. Do you think that silver medal a little hungry?
Yeah, 100%.
Leave a little bit
Yeah.
on the table.
There's like this little party, especially when you're a high seed, little party that could use a little underdog, you know, right? That little underdog juice. Put a chip on your shoulder, but also take a little pressure off you. And I think they both, they obviously had the talent to pull it off, and they both used it perfectly and just rolled it.
That's what I was wondering, if Anders didn't actually get hurt, if it was a fake injury. He's like, bro, we got to be underdogs.
Yeah, right.
That's a joke.
Well,
I know he
even-
didn't fake it.
Totally a joke, guys. Even going into the Tokyo quad, he had some big issues where he was out uncomfortably close to the Olympics as well,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and they were kind of similar story. Anders and Christian slumping for them prior to Tokyo.
Right, yeah.
Anna, Patricia, and Duda had never in their entire partnership gone 3 straight tournaments without a medal.
Without a medal.
3 straight tournaments leading into Paris, didn't medal. Had a 9th in Stade, their worst finish as a team ever, tying with Ostrava 2022, and then they go and win gold.
You don't. I feel like your best chances to win the gold isn't rolling through and having won 4 in a row and being like overly confident. Even like
Sweden might have
plays
something
in
to say
Spawn.
about that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Different
11
story.
straight finals.
It's just a different. 11 straight finals.
11 straight.
Yeah, they're ridiculous.
Different argument.
It's just a
for
different.
them.
Yeah, it's a different.
Yeah, I wonder, like, that part of that is you've been on this 2-year quad or 2-year grind, and near the end of it, you're starting to be burnt out a little bit, mental fatigue, and you get some losses, and maybe you turn them into something good. Obviously, you want to continue to win up to the Olympics, but not required, and you just accept, you surrender to the fact that, hey, okay, we weren't at our best here, we're at a little bit of a low, but that means it's time that we're going to start doing this. And like we said, that underdog mindset. And I think the challenge is, we talk about the underdog mindset a lot, is like, even when you are the 1 seed or the 2 seed, can you still trick your brain into thinking we're a little underdog?
For sure.
For the mental advantage of how much we talk about how beneficial it is to be underdog. Like, okay, the best in the world. Can you just flip the switch, like, oh, we're underdogs in this tournament? Like, harder to do.
Yeah.
Easier said than done.
For sure. 100%.
And I think it's one thing for Mel and Brandie, to veterans who have been on the Olympic stage before, to respond from 2 losses in pool play. I think it's another thing entirely for Ahman and Hellvig to respond from 2 losses in pool play at 22 years old in their first Olympic Games on the biggest stage they've ever played.
It says a lot.
It says a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of maturity.
Swedish people are just solid.
I wasn't sure what was coming
Steel
out.
trap.
Solid. That's good. Solid.
I'm half
so-
Swedish, if anyone was wondering.
So the biggest storyline for you was Sweden.
Yep, Sweden.
And Hellvig balling.
Yep, have the ball and turn around.
Tri Bourne. Biggest storyline for you from the men's side of the Olympic Games.
I think it goes to the most underrated player in the world, I think, is Vikla. I've played against him through multiple partners. Haven't beat him yet, damn it.
He's damn good.
He's just such a good volleyball player. And he doesn't crack under pressure. He can play with anyone at any time in any conditions. And he carried his team to, like, Ehlers is obviously an amazing player, and he's gotten significantly better. But he was just this really raw indoor player a few years back. Maybe he's probably been out for 6 years or so, 5 or 6 years. But Vikler took him to the promised land, in my opinion. He's just a rock, and I think he doesn't get enough credit. So
Agreed.
Germany going to the silver medal that's my whatever we're talking about here.
That's a big one. And like you said, Vikler, he's been one of my favorite defenders to watch.
You're preaching to the choir over here. Travis and I have been
He's
winning
nasty.
on over Vikler for years.
He's
That arm
nasty.
swing is
Yeah,
just
it's next level.
so nice.
Yeah.
Such a whip. And I think Ehlers probably is making a pretty firm case for most improved player in the world.
Yeah. He looked good this
Yeah.
tournament.
Yeah. I mean, huge block was up there. I think him and Hellvig were 1-2 in blocks. I think, as you mentioned, the ball control issues that have sort of given Ehlers a lot of trouble. Didn't see a ton of that.
No.
The gold medal match, a little bit shaky, but that's a team that they lost to 10 straight times. I don't think it's a coincidence that they made it 11.
Yeah, their juice just ran out. It just wasn't going to happen in that final.
Yeah, so good for Vikler. I think that was a moment that was a long time coming for him. Good for Ehlers, performing on a big stage, beating Norway. I think that the fans wanted a Norway-Sweden final.
Sure, we did.
Yeah, we did.
Sure, we did.
I wanted to watch it, but hey, that's why we play.
That's why you
That's why we play the game.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
In the Olympics.
Men's most valuable player.
Yeah.
Who you got?
I got Hellvig. I got Jonatan Hellvig as the most valuable player. Again, just so impressed with his blocking and his consistency siding out. So much creativity, especially in that gold medal match. A little reverse pokey off the dig, tight ball, way off the net, poking high line. Again, 22 years old. They're both 22 years old, but you know we preach so much about Ahman and how miraculous he is, and he is. He's an absolute freak of nature. But Hellvig, I think, really rose to the occasion and really created such a stable foundation for their team. And it's already hard enough to get balls down on David Ahman, and then you throw in Hellvig's monster block and how dynamic he was this weekend. So MVP, Hellvig for me. Yeah.
Like it.
Yeah, I think for me it's probably based on whoever won that final between Vikler and... I mean, Hellvig took it because of how he played in the final, in my opinion, because he's also... That team is ride or die on him, and I think in pool play, it's hard to even say he was shaky, but their teams are usually going after him when they're losing, and he was able to turn it around and bring it all the way back. So I'm still going to give him the MVP because they closed it out.
Yep. And I'm going with one, I think, the early goings. I just want to make sure that Cuba gets its proper love. I think Jorge Alayo was the best player throughout pool play. They got the rawest deal I've seen in a tournament, and you go 3-0 and your draw's Sweden.
Yeah, that's terrible.
In the first round.
Don't get Travis started on pool play.
Don't get me started on pool play. They know I've preached to our SANDCAST listeners enough. Just we had a 2-loss gold medalist and a 3-loss silver medalist. That's all I'm saying.
Right? It's crazy.
If that's not an indictment of what a waste of time pool play is.
Like, if it's a single-limb tournament, those teams aren't there. The other teams are there. Cuba's maybe in the finals. Who knows?
Give me double limb or give me death.
They did not earn playing the gold medal team at 9th.
No.
That's for sure.
No. So, Jorge Alayo, giving you your proper love, brother. I think played phenomenal. Nazem Diaz played phenomenal. But I think my MVP, David Ahman. I don't think they make it to the gold medal match for Hellvig to shine the way he did without Ahman being the rock and the foundation of that team. Man, you got... and I always love it. So my family doesn't watch a ton of beach volleyball. And I always love it when my family texts me just little observance, and all of them said, "Who is this defender for Sweden?" And I was like, "You guys already know."
You got it. Great eye. The great eye for athletics. They know sports. You don't know volleyball,
crazy.
He's the rock. He's the rock for that team.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's why it's kind of like a moment to shine a little light on Hellvig.
Yeah,
I
for
think,
sure.
At least on my part. But
yeah,
I mean, Ahman's the best player in the world, the best defender in the world right now. We talked about those high swings over Ehlers. I mean, Ehlers is the biggest block on the world tour,
and he's hitting over him.
And he's hitting over
not
him.
Shooting.
Yeah, he's hitting over deep, but just snapping
crazy.
that wrist.
Yeah.
Just give me a highlight reel. That's what's so cool now. When we were kids, you had to really scour the internet if we even found any videos of little clips here, one website, and you can watch clip after clip and reel after reel of Ahman just banging balls over 6'10" guys all day long.
So wild.
And the real winner of them all, Red Bull.
Red Bull, yeah.
2 gold medalist teams.
They pick the winners. They pick the winners.
Monster, we love you.
Overrated.
All right. That's it. Paris is done.
I'm sad. I'm kind of bummed.
Kind of sad.
We got some indoor left.
Got some indoor.
Beach Paris is done.
Yep, Beach Paris is done. Do we have any final notes from the Olympic race, from the Olympics in general?
I don't think so.
I mean, you want to add? Sweden's here.
Yeah.
Right.
They're not
Sweden's
going anywhere.
Here. They're fully established.
Yep.
They are what we thought they were.
They are who we thought they were.
Yeah. Well, it's cool because, like, I think over the last, let's say 8 years or so, everyone kind of just figured Norway was that team. No one's going to start dominating with them around anytime soon. And Sweden came in. We've all been in denial of it, and they're the clear number ones now, which is pretty cool to see.
It's hard to say. I'm like, who's the best team in the world? I'm like, no, just Sweden.
Either way, though.
Scandinavian.
Okay, but 10 years ago, you didn't even know a team from Norway or Sweden or Scandinavia, period, basically.
Yep. Yeah.
And now they're the best teams ever.
Yeah, and if Sweden continues this run for another quad, they got to be in conversation of one of the best teams ever. And I think if Norway does this for another quad, I think they're going to put themselves
Out of reach.
as the firm best of all time. And I think Anders is going to be best of all time.
Yeah. Where's the we got more goes here. But yeah, I think it's interesting with Norway and like how Sweden realize no one can beat Norway playing 3-touch volleyball. Right, and so we have to change. So we have to play 2-touch volleyball with some more creativity. And so now the world is saying we can't beat Sweden with 3-touch volleyball, and we can't beat Sweden with 2-touch volleyball. Yeah. So what is next? How do you beat this team? I guess you catch them on some bad days. You run the option, try to do their style of play better than them. But like I said, what is the next evolution? How do you change the game to adapt to how good Sweden is now? And when we have this conversation again in 4 years, when Sweden is back in the gold medal match, in my opinion, what does the world do to try and beat their style of play? 'Cause I don't know. I don't know the answer.
Wait till they're 35 and can't jump every play.
Maybe. Unless they're like Pablo Herrera and they're playing 6 Olympics later.
They're 35. You know how long that is until they're 35? That's 3 more Olympics.
A long time. Scandinavia.
Yeah, cool. I mean, there's a lot of young talent that we've seen that hasn't broken through yet on the World Tour. And these are guys who are coming up with Sweden, if not right behind them, watching them and letting them kind of set the bar, just like the generations before Norway set the bar for them. And I think that's what we're going to see is more teams like them coming up, ready to go. Maybe someone who has that skill level but is 6'9" or something, you know.
Right.
Or we're just Bradford.
Like, whoa.
Jump setting. 6'9".
Derek Bradford.
the Oleg of the USA.
Yeah. Oleg, yeah. France has a young guy. Latvia has a young guy.
Yep.
There's some dudes out there and girls. So a lot to look forward to in the world of volleyball.
Indeed.
Yep. A lot to look forward to. Kyle, friend, I appreciate you as always.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Try. Welcome to the Paris Pod.
Appreciate you too. Just in the nick of time.
Just in the nick of time. To everyone who's been following along on the road to Paris, can't thank you enough. It's been a super fun little spin-off edition of the podcast we've had these last 18 months. We'll do some version of it come LA. And now it's time to crank up the beach access, baby.
Let's go, baby.
Me and Kyle will be doing some AVP stuff. We'll be doing a lot of stuff on the Volleyball World channels. We'll be going out to Hamburg in a week, and then we'll be going to Brazil, Doha, and so you'll be seeing a lot more stuff like this on Volleyball World. And for AVP stuff, find it right here.
Shoots.